Hey there, fellow Reddit enthusiasts. If you love diving into intriguing Reddit stories, you'll want to stick around till the end. We've got a captivating one lined up for you today. For this video, we're delving into the fascinating world of relationships, so buckle up for a deep dive into some compelling stories. My 22M girlfriend, 23F, wants to keep her affair baby. My girlfriend had an affair with a coworker, 30M. She even went on a 7-day vacation with him. After she told me about her affair, she begged for mercy and we went into counseling. She blocked him in everything, and she showed me that she wanted to fight for our relationship. 3 months into our reconciliation, we were doing great. I even told her that I wanted to have a baby with her someday, and then her face went pale. I asked her what was wrong, and she told me that she was pregnant. It was from AP. I was obviously angry and asked her to have an abortion or put the baby into adoption. But she wants to keep the baby and making me the dad. I want to be a father, but I want it to be my own child, not someone else's. Should I leave her, or should I try to convince her to abort? We have been together for 4 years. We started as roommates because she needed money to pay her house. The affair lasted 2 months. She confessed the affair to me after a working trip. The AP told her to leave me for him. She got scared and left him. She confessed everything to her family and mine as a gesture of reconciliation. So, yesterday I posted this asking for suggestions and help. Someone in this. Reddit told me about some other social network that they could be using, so I followed her suggestion and I went through her laptop. Worker AP30M doesn't exist. The real AP is my brother, 24M, and has been going on for more than 2 months. They have been making fun of me, my body, and my insecurities behind my back. They have been making all kind of stuff in my house where I was working outside. I work as a cook, but that's not the tip of the iceberg. They got married during that 7-day vacation, and the worst of all, my parents knew about this as well as her family. They were sending photos to each other. I found all this looking through all her chats. She didn't had added my brother, but I know it's him because of the photos and some things that only he knows. Well, I waited for her to come back from work. I was feeling, and am still, broken and really hurt. Once she came back, I asked her immediately about this. She just smiled and told me that she was tired of pretending, that she only stayed with me until the lease was over and that the child was my brother's. I packed my stuff and left. I'm now with my big sister. She is as shocked and hurt as I am. She has been calling my parents, brother, and girlfriend all day. My parents are the only one who tried to contact me, but I don't answer. I will cut off my parents and brother. We've got ourselves a soap opera special, complete with unexpected plot twists and family drama that could rival a Shakespearean tragedy. The affairs, the vacation, the unexpected baby. It's like a real-life episode of Days of Our Lives. First things first, kudos to you for trying to salvage the relationship and seeking counseling. It's a bold move, and most people wouldn't hesitate to hit the eject button after an affair vacation, let alone a surprise baby reveal. Your commitment to reconciliation is almost admirable if it weren't for the bombshell that followed. And then, wham! The pregnancy revelation drops like a poorly timed punchline. This isn't just any baby bomb. It's an affair, baby bomb. Classic daytime drama material. The writers really outdid themselves with this one. Your request for an abortion or adoption is met with a resounding no from your girlfriend. She's determined to keep the affair baby and make you the dad. It's a plot twist that even seasoned soap opera viewers would raise an eyebrow at. Now, you're standing at the crossroads, wondering if you should stay and play the unexpected dad role or make a dramatic exit stage left. It's a tough decision, but hey, at least you've got a compelling storyline for the next season. But wait, there's more. A plot twist within a plot twist. Your friendly Reddit detective suggests checking other social networks, leading you to discover the affair wasn't with a random coworker, it was your own brother. Cue the gasps from the imaginary audience. They went all out, secret marriage, making fun of you, sharing photos, and basically turning your life into an episode of Jerry Springer. It's like your personal soap opera decided to throw in a few episodes of Maury for good measure. In the grand finale, your girlfriend drops the bombshell that she was just biding her time until the lease was up, and the child is indeed your brother's. It's the kind of revelation that even the most seasoned soap opera writers might shy away from for being too over the top. Stay tuned, because in the upcoming story update, we'll be incorporating more of your opinions. Your perspectives shape the narrative, so keep those comments flowing. Update. My 22M girlfriend, 23F, wants to keep her affair baby. Hi, it's been 3 days since everything exploded. I have been really sad and depressed during these days, but I'm with my sister and that's making me feel better. For people who are reading this first, my girlfriend cheated on me and married my brother behind my back, then she left me. She is pregnant with his child and my parents and hers knew about this. I have to answer some questions I received. 1. You slept with your girlfriend after she told you about the affair? No, I didn't, but I did sleep with her when she was married to my brother. I still don't know why they would do that. 2. Does the rest of the family know? No, but I already told them. Even my ex-girlfriend family, the only person who knew were my parents and hers. 3. Does your sister knows? No, she has been like an outcast for my family. She is lesbian, so my family didn't like her much. She has always been there for me. She is my best friend. Now with the update, I have been staying with my sister this 3 days. I have been really depressed, but she was with me all the time. We even played some Cyberpunk. I had to leave my job because my sister don't trust me with a knife in my hands at this moment. I had attempted to suicide before. She told me what my parents told her. They want to meet with me to explain everything. She told me that I didn't need to do it if I didn't wanted, but I want to know everything. So I have met with them this Friday. I went to take some things from my previous house, and my brother was there with my ex, my sister, who came with me in case something happened. Almost punched him. He has been repudiated from most of the family, as well as my parents. Some people from here advised me not to go, and I should have listened to them. Once I arrived there with my sister, my parents were mad that she was there with me. I told them that they were in no position of making demands. Then they tried to make an apologize. That didn't sound like one, but I just asked them the first question. For how long did you know about this? They were quiet. But then my father said that they were leaving them their own house for them to make their deeds. Can you imagine? I was not hurt. I was furious. I knew that my brother was the golden child, but this just infuriated me. I just kept asking them questions, and I discovered that the first who discovered the affair was my ex-GF dad. Then he contacted my parents, and the 4 of them met with my brother and my ex, and the 6 of them came with the idea of the blissful lie, words of my dad. They didn't want it to hurt me, but they thought that my brother and my ex would be happier together since they decided to betray me in the first place. I was really furious with that. My sister was really pissed too, and she started screaming at my parents. Then my brother came, my sister and I went quiet, and my mom started making stories about mending things and been there as an aunt and an uncle for the baby. My sister was angry and said that she wouldn't be there for that kid. Then my brother said something like, "This will be the only child you will have related by blood." My sister went silent and I punched him without thinking. It's the first time I punched someone and I couldn't be happier, to be honest. My brother started bleeding from his nose and my parents started yelling at me. I just told them that they had lost 2 children and we left. Now I am here in my sister's house and my hand hurts, but I am happy for protecting my sister and myself. I will start therapy soon, and I am thinking in joining the gym too. But as long as I'm writing this, my bad thoughts are less common. So I think that's great news. My brother and my parents have pressed charges against me for breaking my brother's nose, so another bad news to the collection. I'm looking for proof to see if I can sue them back for everything they did to me. I will update soon with more information. Thank you for all your kind messages. I'm still feeling down, but like Elton John said, I'm still standing. Major props for standing up for yourself and your sister. Pummeling your brother might not solve everything, but sometimes a good punch is worth 1,000 words, especially when those words are as twisted as a soap opera script. Your parents' blissful lie strategy is straight out of a daytime drama playbook. They thought they were protecting you, but it turns out they were just spinning a web of deceit that would make any soap opera villain proud. Who knew family meetings could be so diabolical? The revelation that your ex's dad was the affair detective is a surprising twist. It's like he took on the role of the private investigator in a mystery thriller, uncovering secrets and revealing the shocking truth. Bravo to him for his detective skills, though I'm sure you're not sending him a thank you card anytime soon. Now, your brother bleeding from a well-deserved punch is an unexpected climax. Sometimes the best therapy is a bit of physical release. Who needs a stress ball when you've got a sibling who deserves a reality check? As you embark on the journey of therapy and potentially hitting the gym, just remember, life is full of unexpected plot twists. Your narrative might be a roller coaster right now, but every great story has its highs and lows. You're the protagonist of this epic tale, and you've got the strength to navigate the twists and turns. Now, let's shift our focus to the comments section and see what our fantastic community has to say about this. Your insights always add an extra layer to the conversation. User Croiso. Parents press charges. Police investigates and give to prosecution and decides to follow up with a criminal case. Then it is the government versus OOP, but people usually phrase it as family versus me. The OOP can withhold any evidence and only show it as D exhibits if he elects to not remain silent. Or such evidence can be given by defense witnesses depending on the situation, if we follow similar legal and court systems. I am not talking about his post being a story piece or not. Just that your comment is mostly true, but there are exceptions. User Croiso commented again. Depends, in criminal case, defendants for sure can. But civil case, the standard is no. But if you say there ain't rogue clients that watch too many lawsuit and law movies, that would be a dishonest comment too. Parents press charges, police investigates and give to prosecution and decides to follow up with a criminal case. The OOP can withhold any evidence and only show it as D exhibits if he elects to not remain silent. Or such evidence can be given by defense witnesses depending on the situation. If we follow similar legal and court systems. And his use of punctuation marks, not a native English speaker it seems. User ACatGod, they always absolutely fuck it up with the lawyers. A lawyer who advises their client to defend themselves in a criminal trial and suggests OP sues them back for... And of course, OP appears to be in a muddle about civil and criminal court proceedings. Yep, definitely happened. All right, folks, it's time to shift gears and dive into our next compelling story. Buckle up for another journey into the unexpected twists of Reddit tales. Am I the asshole for telling my ex to fuck off and not contact me again after we broke up? Me, 24, and my ex, 26, were both from the same friend group. And to keep it simple, after a while, we dated for some months. During the relationship, she would always want to do some really dangerous stuff. Hike, bang jump, car races. And honestly, I am not the person for that. And would have days absolutely terrified for her life. So after one of her friends got a serious injury, I put my foot down and told her I couldn't live like that anymore. We got heated and she told me, "I'm a boring, sad person who will die alone." So I said, "I hope your hobbies have the consequences I expect them to have." And after that, we both parted ways mad and never spoke again. We still are from the same friend group, and we both, while not speaking specifics, just said we couldn't compromise on something. And since then, as for the last 4 months, I have not hang with them much as they are more her friends than mine. Issue came as one of my friends from this group asked me if I wouldn't mind he giving her my new number, as she wanted to get closure. And I accepted because I didn't cared enough. So, she did call, and it started decently, just small talk, and she asked why I'm so reclusive now. Nothing that mattered much. But soon enough, she started talking about her life. She spent a whole 25 minutes speaking about her new boyfriend, how she's able to do what she wants, and how fun and amazing it is to have support on the things she liked, how much she missed out when we were together, and that maybe I should change my views a little and my life would improve like hers did. I told her okay, and she replied, confused. Quickly enough, I said, I couldn't care less for her new life, and honestly to fuck off and never contact me again, if she just wanted to brag. To be fair, she wasn't really condescending with her tone, but hearing from your ex how their life is so much better without you get into you. After that, I blocked her, and as quick as I blocked her, all of my friends started texting me about how rude I was, and that she was just making small talk, and I shouldn't have been so angry that she's happy. So IDK, I didn't think I was being an asshole, but I guess they do. Am I the asshole? For what I did? Seriously. Can't believe I actually got set up. I knew I would, but the fact it really happened. Insane. As for what was said, we sat down very awkwardly. Then she actually said she was sorry. Surprisingly, she said she acknowledged how she sounded like a bitch, but that she was sad I cut her out before she could say anything. After that, we started to have a conversation about our relationship and whatnot. But I shit you not, the second I asked, "What about your boyfriend?" she got dead silent and looked lost for some seconds, before saying some random info about him and randomly started telling me she actually missed me a lot. And we complimented each other. Her current boyfriend is too much like her, and she feels in danger sometimes for not having someone who tries to be careful. It went like that until she noticed I wasn't really caring much for what she said and typed to someone. Then out of literally nowhere, all my friends ambushed me to tell me I should stop running, that if I continued to isolate myself and drive them away, because I couldn't get over the breakup was wrong and they are worried for me. I honestly got really overwhelmed with it and said I needed a break. Then they tried to stop me saying this was an intervention and I can't run from it. I started to feel really bad, and I thought I might have a panic attack. They noticed I was having problems breathing and let me in a room away. Then they sent my ex to comfort me, and as much as I fucking hate to say it, it somehow worked. I hate that having her cuddle with me worked, and I was able to go control myself again. After that, I said I needed to go home and would speak with them later. She literally asked, "Can we try to get back together?" And all I did was say, "Give me time to think." Then I walked back home and my phone started receiving messages from everyone telling me I should give her a chance, and that we clearly still had feelings. I honestly feel awful. I stated to actually doubt myself in it all. I'm still suffering with my anxiety, almost making me explode, but I wanted to update before anything. Firstly, hats off to you for having the courage to tell your ex to take a hike after her thrilling adventures led to a breakup. Not everyone can handle the adrenaline of dating an extreme sports enthusiast, and that's perfectly fine. Fast forward to the unexpected call from the ex, wanting to share all the newfound joys of her life. It's like a low-budget sequel trying to one-up the original. "My life is so great now, you should try it." Seriously, who scripted this? Your response? A solid okay followed by a not-so-friendly invitation to exit stage left. Classic move. Who needs that drama, right? Now cue the friends rallying around your ex, playing the role of supportive side characters. It's like they all got together and decided, let's make this reunion happen. A well-intentioned intervention or a poorly written comedy? You be the judge. But fear not. for in the midst of this chaotic drama, you stood your ground. You took a break, gathered your thoughts, and resisted the "let's get back together" cliffhanger. Bravo. We all know that's the moment when the audience collectively gasps. In the end, life sometimes feels like a badly scripted reality show. You're the main character, navigating through plot twists, quirky side characters, and the occasional unexpected cuddle session. It's your story, and you get to decide how it unfolds. Hold on to your seats. In the upcoming story update, we're weaving in more of your opinions. It's your chance to shape the narrative, so keep those insights flowing. Update: am I the asshole for telling my ex to fuck off and not contact me again after we broke up? So, needless to say, I had a mental breakdown, and a very bad one at that. I don't remember much of the last week and days. I just woke up in a hospital and later was sent to psychological evaluation, before finally being able to leave. Not alone, though. From what I heard, my friends got worried that I wasn't answering any of them, and sent my ex to check on me. She apparently found me on the floor with some meds on the ground and called an ambulance. I don't recall any of that, but there are the medical records, so it seems to be real. After that, I was completely out, maybe comatose IDK, for about 3 days. And when I woke up, surprisingly enough, she was sitting in the couch on the side of my medical bed. She started crying and apologizing for what she and they all did. It seems you guys were correct from what I read. It was all a grand plan to get us back together and make me less depressed. She explained how she felt like trash after we broke up and even stopped doing the dangerous stuff because she was feeling so down, and also that the supposed boyfriends obviously didn't existed and was a prop to try and make me jealous. After that didn't work out with the call, she went for the full-blown plan of the ambush. They did expected me to get anxious, but that I would later call her back and give my final decision. Well, I guess they didn't expected me to have a mental breakdown and try what I did, and their whole plan failed. By what I heard, they actually thought they killed me indirectly and were all stressed and messed up for the 3 days I was gone. All of them getting medical leaves to spend time with my lifeless self. After I woke up, they all came to see me and apologized as well, saying they had the experience as eye-opening and would understand if I cut all contact with them all. After that, I went to the psychological evaluation and was confirmed to be a threat to myself, pain in the ass, and was either gonna have to go to a mental facility or have someone watch me 24/7. Because I have zero contact with my family, my ex asked me if I wouldn't mind if she was the one to be that person. I of course protested in the start, but later decided it was best that than going to a mental facility again. I have been in these places often, it's not fun at all. So that's how it is currently. We are living in her house, bigger than mine. She's been doing all of the work and chores while I do nothing and just keep my emotionless face. The girl who's dating my boss apparently is way more serious than I thought, and they were engaged, so she made him give me my salary until I get better at up on it, with the medical leave, something I do appreciate. I know I sound like a dumb prick to start living with her, but currently we have set boundaries. She haven't even touched my arm since after the hug when I woke up. She's kinda like a maid more than anything. We of course still speak, and I can hear the guilt in her voice. She definitely didn't expected things to take this turn and is ready to accept it as it is. As she stated, "If you never gets better, I'm ready to take care of you. If you do get better and wants to leave, that's fine. If you are never able to love me back, that's okay. It's my fault this happened." It seemed legit. For now, it works. I don't know how I feel now, as the meds have made me really numb, so I don't know if I care or not for her currently. So, you had a mental breakdown, ended up in the hospital, and woke up with your ex playing the role of reluctant caretaker. It's like a bizarre blend of Grey's Anatomy and a telenovela. And there you are, caught in the whirlwind of unexpected plot developments, pondering the complexities of your newfound living arrangement. It's like a sitcom episode where the characters are stuck in a scenario they never anticipated. Your ex, now a mix of caretaker and contrite co-star, is playing her role with a script that seems to be constantly rewriting itself. The boundaries you've set are like the comedic tension in a sitcom. Will they hold, or will hilarity or drama ensue? Meanwhile, your friends are scrambling to deal with the aftermath of their well-intentioned but disastrously executed plan. They're probably thinking, how did we end up with our protagonist in a mental facility? And why did we think this was a good idea? Cue the sitcom laugh track. As you navigate this unexpected turn of events, it's essential to remember that life doesn't come with a neatly written script. The unpredictability, the absurdity, and the downright bizarre moments are what make it a story worth telling. So, here you are, the protagonist of your own unique narrative, surrounded by a supporting cast that includes an ex-turned caretaker and a benevolent boss's girlfriend making sure your financial subplot stays afloat. It's not your typical love story, but hey, who needs typical when you can have a plotline filled with twists and turns? As you continue through this season of life, remember that character development is a journey, not a destination. Embrace the unexpected, find humor in the absurd, and appreciate the fact that, in this sitcom of life, you're the star of a story that's uniquely yours. After all, it's the quirks, the surprises, and the unforeseen detours that make it all worthwhile. It's that time again. We're transitioning to the community comments. Keep those thoughts coming, and let's make this discussion even more interesting. User Amalora. I am bipolar, I have anxiety, and chronic depression that often leads to clinical depression. When I read that part, it made my heart start going faster. I could not imagine being squeezed like that. If he had underlying mental health problems, this was more than enough to set him off. I can see how the friends got to this point too. Both OOP and X seemed really depressed, but they weren't depressed when they were together. So they should just get back together. What a genius idea. Backpats all around. OX is super happy about this plan. More circle jerk about how awesome they are. OOP doesn't want to get back together. Well, he's stupid. This plan is awesome. Time to have an intervention so he can't say no. Lol. How smart this plan is. Nothing could ever go wrong with this. The whole group is a bunch of super geniuses. More backpats and celebrating. User Jinxadeep. If the friends truly believed that he was depressed because of missing her, then it's understandable that they thought he might feel better if they got back together. However, I doubt that's the case. They just wanted their happy friends group back. And for that reason, they are all shit. Having said all that, I do feel OP needs to take care of himself, because it's not normal for someone to go into a coma for 3 days for such a confrontation. No wonder he couldn't live her lifestyle. Yomi Kuzuki. So OP's ex regularly participated in high-risk activities, and OP couldn't handle that, which is perfectly fine. They broke up over it, which is also fine. What's not fine is getting her friends to gang up on him to try to force them back together. What isn't fine is that OOP had mental breakdown and tried to end himself. OOP desperately needs someone on his side that can help him get the fuck out of there. None of those people have his good health at the forefront of their mind. She's gonna fall back into old behaviors and he'll either leave or try something other than pills this time. Ready for the next adventure? Let's jump into our next story, and don't forget to hit that like button if you're as excited as I am to explore what comes next. I found out the reason why my stepdad always seems sad and distant. I, 14F, found out I'm my dad's 38M affair baby when my mom, 38F, started seeing my dad. She didn't know that he was in a relationship. When she found out, she broke it off, but then she ended up getting pregnant with me. She kept me and has been a great mom ever since. My dad had been a good dad too. I stay at his house every other week and sometimes get to spend the holidays with. Every time I visit my dad's house, I notice my stepdad, 36M, always seems very sad and tries to keep his distance. I want to make it clear my stepdad has never been rude or disrespectful towards me. Whenever my dad is at work, he always takes care of me and makes sure I'm okay. I always see him put on a smile whenever I'm around, but puts it away whenever he thinks I'm not looking, like he doesn't want me to see. My dad always tries to be affectionate towards my stepdad, trying to give him a kiss or hug, but he always tries to reject as politely as possible, or acts like he needs to go do something. When my dad gets home from work, he just makes me and dad our dinner, and then locks himself in the bedroom for the rest of the night. It's always been like this. A couple days ago, I asked my mom if my stepdad didn't like me because of the way he acts, and that's when she told me the truth. After finding out this information, I started to feel guilty. Am I the reason for his unhappiness? My stepdad seems like such a kind person, and I don't want to be the reason he's hurting. I'm staying with my dad next week, and I want to talk to him about this, as well as my stepdad. I spoke with my dad after I made my post. He came to pick me up to spend the weekend with him. I asked him if we could get ice cream and talk, just the two of us. I told him that I knew I was an affair baby. He looked surprised and guilty. He just had no words. Then I just told him to tell me the truth, to start by how the affair started. He started off by apologizing to me. Then I told him to tell me how him and my mom met. After college, my stepdad was always busy with work. He worked at a restaurant. He was a chef and wanted to open his own restaurant. So he tried to do as much research and get as much experience as he could. He also started taking antidepressants, so he wasn't willing to be intimate as much, as my dad put it. Because of that, my dad started feeling upset and neglected. Him and my mom met at the gym where my dad would go after work. They only talked and worked out together at first. Then they started hanging out after the gym. Then things escalated after that. When my mom found out he was in a relationship, she cut it off. Then she got pregnant. I was honestly getting a bit upset hearing all this. I see Reddit stories about cheating all the time, and it just makes me upset. After that, I told him about everything with my stepdad that I said in my first post, asking if I was the reason he was unhappy. He told I was not the reason my stepdad was depressed. Well, not the complete reason. I was confused and asked him what he meant. He was hesitant about answering, but I kept pushing, and I couldn't even believe what he told me. Him and my dad met when he was 16 and dad 18. They had a class together and became friends. My dad would always notice something was wrong with my stepdad. He just seemed sad, and one day he went to my dad's house crying, and that's when he told my dad everything. When my stepdad was 9, he was sexually assaulted by his cousin for 3 years. His mom passed away when he was 13, and it messed up his family. Dad became an alcoholic, and his brothers ignored him. When he was 15, someone outed him to his dad and brothers, and they started physically abusing him. It was so bad to the point they broke his arm once. He was kicked out of his house when he turned 18. He went to stay with my dad, who was 20 and had his own place. That's when they started their relationship. Because of all this, my stepdad has stayed with the trauma. My dad was there and helped him through it all. When he moved in with my dad, he was starting to become very happy. He was working a job that he loved, and he was with someone who he loves. When my dad told him about the pregnancy, he just said okay, then got up and locked himself in the room. My dad slept on the couch that night, and he could hear my stepdad crying in their room. This changed him. He always had a beautiful smile on his face, and then it was gone. He doesn't see a genuine smile from him. Even when he was depressed from living at home, he was always able to make other people happy. And now that changed. It really messed with him that he ended up losing his job, and that just made things worse. It didn't bother my dad too much because he made enough that my stepdad didn't have to work in the first place. They had a small break, then got back together. Stepdad wanted to take his time healing. He didn't want to handle the pressure of healing fast, and he didn't want to lose my dad or make him cheat again, so he let my dad have an open relationship on his side. He could be with whoever he wanted, as long as he didn't tell my stepdad or have them over at the house. My dad started tearing up and just said how much he hates himself for breaking my stepdad's heart. He wants to let my stepdad go, to set him free, but he can't. I was confused on why my stepdad didn't leave, and now I know why. He's only ever had my dad. He doesn't have any family or friends. He reassured me that he wasn't just sad whenever I came over. That's just how he's been since he found out. This made tear up as well. When we finished talking, we went home. My stepdad was cooking. He gave me a smile and a small hug, and we brought my stepdad some ice cream. He gave a small thank you. Then he gave us our dinner and went to shower and sleep. I could see the disappointed look on my dad's face. We ate and talked about our week. Then I just went up to my room to sleep. The next day, I decided I was going to talk to my stepdad while my dad was at work. He always wakes up early to make me and my dad breakfast and pack my dad his lunch. My stepdad and I usually sit and have breakfast together. It's usually we were just eating in silence, and I was just trying to think of the best way to tell him I know. Then I just blurted it out. I know about the affair my mom and dad had. He stopped eating and just said, I know. I heard your dad talking with your mom on the phone about it. He said it with such an empty voice, then he told me if I wanted to talk about he'll be honest with me. That's when I just started venting, apologizing if I was the reason he was unhappy, that I can ask my dad to take us somewhere else so he didn't have to see me. My eyes started watering, and he was just quit the whole time. Then he got up, walked up to me and gave me a hug. He told me that it wasn't my fault, that none of it was my fault. He told me that he loved me and he wasn't depressed because of me. I could hear that he was beginning to cry as well. We just kept holding each other until we calmed down. Then had our conversation. He told me that I had nothing to be sorry about. How can I be sorry for something I had no control over? He apologized to me for making me feel unwanted, or like he didn't like. I told him he never made feel that way. We had a pretty long conversation, but then he said he didn't regret getting cheated on because he wouldn't have me in his life. When he said that, it made me break down again. I really love my stepdad. After our conversation, it was already the afternoon, so he told me to put my shoes on, and we were going to spend the day together. My stepdad's Mexican, so we went to his favorite place for lunch. After we went to the mall and just hung out. Then we got home and we played some Mario Kart on his Switch. I kept losing. Looking at my stepdad throughout the day, he looked so genuinely happy, something I had not seen before. My dad was right, he does have a beautiful smile. When my dad came home, he looked shocked to see us having fun and laughing. I went up to give him a hug, and even my stepdad gave home a hug, which my dad was surprised by, but gladly hugged him back. My stepdad forgot to buy stuff to make dinner, so we just went out to eat that day and had a good time. Later that night, I was going to the kitchen to get some water, and I overheard my dad and stepdad taking. Stepdad started off by apologizing for hurting me and hurting him all this time. He said that he loves me and my dad, but when he found out about the cheating, he couldn't stop thinking about how his own dad told him, how no one will love him because he's gay. And it just hurt more, because my dad cheated with a woman. He started crying and said he'll do better for my dad and especially for me. My dad just hugged him and told he didn't have to apologize. He should be the one apologizing, especially because he was the reason he lost his job and for making him take care of me. After he lost his job, he said how much he loves my stepdad and how much he lived in regret for how my dad hurt him. He just kept holding my stepdad while he cried. They talked about what they were going to do now. They decided to go to couples counseling. I get my stepdad in therapy. My dad doesn't have work on Sundays, so we all spent the day together. My stepdad seemed a lot happier. I really think our conversation healed him a little. I really think me talking to both of them has made them better, and it's made me better too. Who knows what's going to happen now? If anything else happens, I'll update, but for now, this is the only one. First things first, Kudos to our young protagonist for tackling the kind of family drama that most adults would run away from, faster than you can say cheating scandal. Who knew a Mario Kart marathon could be the catalyst for healing? Now let's talk about our stepdad. He's been through the ringer, assault, family troubles, and the discovery of a cheating partner. Yet, through it all, he manages to keep his composure. Can we get this guy a trophy for resilience? Maybe a Blue Shell Dodge Award? And our dad, oh boy, he's got layers: regret, guilt, and the realization that he might need a roadmap to navigate the mess he's created. Mario Kart skills don't necessarily translate to relationship expertise, it seems. But hey, this family didn't just sit in the pits. They decided to hit the track of therapy and counseling. Bravo. It's like they've upgraded from the family sitcom to a full-fledged action movie with emotional twists. In the end, it's heartening to see them all come together, share some tears, and possibly even find a path to healing. Family, much like a Mario Kart race, might have its bumps and banana peels, but it's the finish line that counts. So here's to this Reddit saga, a roller coaster of emotions and unexpected turns. May this family continue navigating the race of life, and if there are more updates, we'll be eagerly waiting for the next lap. Buckle up, folks. Before we dive into the next story, let's take a moment to check out what you, our incredible audience, are saying in the comments. Your opinions truly matter. User Wintis Coming. The stepdad's family sexually and physically abused him. His father told him no one would ever love him because he is gay. A coerced, open relationship with the dad is probably better than what stepdad thinks he deserves, even if it's shattered his self-esteem. Losing his job due to deteriorating mental health and becoming financially dependent on his partner has probably made him feel even worse. Stepdad probably was distant to OP because he assumed OP wanted nothing to do with him, like everyone else. I doubt stepdad has much social support besides his partner. Developing a relationship with OP is the best thing too for him. User Legal Bagel. It's hard to be vulnerable or open about your feelings when everyone who was supposed to care for you discards you, diminishes your feelings, ignores your needs, etc. A child can't do those things until they are taught to, and stepdad probably always loved Op, but their relationship was dependent on remaining with her father. So it's understandable that he would try to distance himself from her, in case their relationship failed, and she left him too. When you're on your own so young it becomes part of your identity, you either cling like hell to the people you have for better or worse, or you close everyone out so you don't depend on someone. You'll never be disappointed if you never have expectations in your life. I've come to realize how damaging all that is while dealing with placing my mother in nursing care. I struggled as a tween teen, and by the time my parents really got on board to do something, there weren't many options. So at 15, they shipped me off to Utah, where I spent 18 months. I came home for my senior year, met my now late ex, got married 11 mo's later at 17, pregnant and moved out before I was 18 years old. I realize now that part of the rush was to get out of their house, but at 45 also realized that I've been on my own since 15 years old. My youngest is 15 now, and he is still such a child. I can't imagine sending him states away for over a year with very little and controlled contact. User Peter095837. Wow, this was pretty emotional to read. OP is very mature for a 14-year-old, and she seems to a genuine sweet person. Things are messy, and I do feel bad for the stepdad because he sounds like a sweetheart. I wish for the best for OP and the family to heal. We've had some great discussions, and now it's time to move on to our next intriguing story. Get ready for more twists, turns, and unexpected revelations. Ada for being upset. My wife will miss our first anniversary for a bachelorette party. The woman my wife is missing our anniversary for hates me because I drove a wedge in their friendship, since my wife obviously spends a large chunk of her time with me. I also see through her bullying bullshit and do not have patience for her. Anytime my wife tries to include this friend in our plans, the friend whines about nearly everything. Yesterday she was carsick when we had to drive an hour and a half to and from the place we went as she sat in the back. She tried to solve the problem by eating potato chips and 2 cans of soda, only to keep complaining she felt sick. She was clearly hinting I should have been the one sitting in the back, but I'm recovering from an injury, and the extra room in the passenger seat is helpful. She made very obnoxious digs into my home country and background, to the point where I almost took the train home, leaving my wife with her friends. Living in a new country has already been exhausting. Having to hear things like that from my wife's friend wasn't pleasant. My wife didn't stand up for me against the friend, which hurt my feelings. We spoke at length last night and today about it, agreeing I would never go out with this friend again. My wife also said it was only a matter of time before the with friendship ended, because she couldn't deal with the negativity and self-centered attitude anymore. On to the problem. April 17th is our first anniversary. My wife is the maid of honor at her wedding and got to choose when the bachelorette party is. She chose the week of our first anniversary, meaning we would be flying home from my home country to a very private getaway. I had planned on our anniversary, and my wife would leave me that night to go to this bachelorette weekend. I'm upset because my wife knew when our anniversary was. She knows this friend doesn't like me at all, and the friend has made digs and comments about my wife getting married before her. I understand my wife is between a rock and a hard place, but I'm tired of having to be understanding at the expense of my feelings over the friend. There were many discussions and disagreements leading up to her ending the friendship. Things would grate at me that my wife was still going along with the friendship for the sake of her other friend in their friendship triangle's birthday party. Every day it was like I was more annoyed because she still hadn't even defended me to the friend, and it was showing she cared less about me and how I felt in her country when she knows how much I miss mine. She knew she needed to end it anyway and said losing our relationship wasn't an option. After a bit of prying, it was clear how psychotic she thinks her friend is. My wife believes her friend will key her car, show up to the house and cause problems, drag all the other friends involved into it. It all came to a head when I told her I was not returning to her country from mine. We're back in mine for a Christmas thing with my family, if the friendship was still intact. She ended the friendship 2 days later after the friend called me racist towards the very large white, 85% plus majority of her country. I am white. As expected, the friend has started to go off the rails. So far, it's been excessive phone calls, texts. The friend tried to text me and apologize for her comments to salvage anything with my wife, but I had changed my number a week prior. The apology was something along the lines of, "Sorry if what I said hurt your feelings, but your words hurt mine." What I said had just pointed out my frustration with lived experiences from the new country every day. Friendship is over. Wife is worried ex-friend will key her car. She is genuinely fearful of this ex-friend. We will be installing another camera as soon as we get home that only points to her car. The classic tale of a turbulent friendship triangle, a bachelorette party, and the unwelcome guest named Drama. Firstly, let's address the elephant in the room. Missing your first anniversary for a bachelorette party? That's like skipping dessert on your birthday for a kale smoothie. Understandably, you're not thrilled about it, especially considering the Bachelorette Queen is also the arch nemesis who made your life a sitcom episode. Now, your wife choosing the week of your anniversary for this shindig? That's like planning a vacation in the middle of a kitchen renovation. A bold move indeed. But hey, love is a wild roller coaster, and sometimes it throws you a loop-de-loop. As for your wife's now ex-friend, the self-appointed ambassador of awkward car rides, it seems she's giving the term drama queen a whole new meaning. I mean, who gets car sick and attempts to cure it with a buffet of chips and soda? That's not a remedy, that's a party trick. Your wife's fear of her car getting a surprise makeover in the form of key scratches is a genuine concern. But hey, installing a camera? Now that's a plot twist worthy of a suspense thriller. Can we get this on Netflix, please? In the end, it's a rocky road with a sprinkle of paranoia and a dash of, "Are you kidding me?" However, it sounds like the friendship chapter is finally closing. Maybe this whole saga will be a footnote in the epic novel of your relationship, something to laugh about during future anniversaries. Before we unravel the next chapter, let's take a pit stop at the community comments. Your thoughts and reactions are the heartbeat of our discussions. User J. Becker. It's possible TA friend demanded the bachelorette party during that time because she knew OOP's wife wouldn't stand up and it would interfere with their first anniversary. So it wasn't OOP's wife choosing the date, but TA friend. User Rip Dirtbag replies, so then the wife says, "That weekend doesn't work, it's my anniversary." I'm failing to see how an adult allows themselves to be steamrolled by a friend like this, and we're all supposed to give them a pass. The wife has been an active participant in this friendship dynamic. She's absolutely worthy of a fair amount of blame, allowing herself to be run over like that just to appease some crazy-ass friend. User OKMotor4298. Wife is between a rock and a hard place. You love to see this sentence when the rock is a husband and the hard place is a trashy friend. My wife doesn't want to rock the boat. Can't you say to your wife that her friendship is rocking your boat? Getting insulted and your wife being okay with it, a big boat. The excitement is building up. Now, let's seamlessly transition into our last gripping story. Your anticipation fuels the journey. Let's see where this one takes us. Me, 27F, my husband. 31M, marriage counselor lied to us. My husband of 7 months and I had a rough time after we got married when he came back from military deployment. Screaming matches, erectile dysfunction, resentment from deployment, me feeling sexually unattractive, etc. We went to a military-funded marriage counselor for about 2 months before the therapist suddenly disappeared saying he was getting transferred. Said he'd continue seeing us once a week, but suddenly his phone number changed. And we had no idea what happened. We just stopped counseling altogether due to scheduling issues. Our last session was around February or so. I thought the marriage counseling helped as we'd be doing better, or so I thought. But apparently my husband is still unhappy, albeit for other reasons now. Our intercourse life still sucks, and I feel horribly unwanted and undesirable, despite being fit and attractive. We had a fight last night, and finally the substance of our individual counseling came out for the first time. We were shocked to say the least. So we'd had both individual and couples counseling. We'd meet around once a week as a couple and would alternate weeks individually. It came out last night. The counselor had been telling us individually that the problem was all the other's fault. He gave us both some of the same story, but with some differences. He told us each that the other was being very closed off and defensive, and not wanting to open up or discuss issues. That we were each blaming the other. This was while I was openly sharing with him my abandonment and anger issues and feeling insecure sexually, and providing him with background info from my previous therapy sessions with other counselors. My husband claims he would try to offer stories from his past as well, but that the counselor would actually cut him off and say he wasn't the problem. He told my husband privately I may have BPD and likely needed meds. This coincides chronologically with my husband out of nowhere, yelling at me during arguments that I needed medication. I asked our counselor if I should see a specialist after these fights, whether I really was showing these signs, and said honestly that I would seek more intensive help if he thought it would help our marriage. He laughed at my husband in individual sessions, saying there was nothing wrong with me, that my husband was deflecting by trying to diagnose me. Does he think he's a psychiatrist? He would laugh. He told me privately my husband was emotionally and sexually underdeveloped and would never have a healthy relationship, sexually or emotionally, with anyone without serious change, that I should move on, that he was not willing to change or admit to any issues and would run from all conflict, that each time the counselor tried to broach issues, my husband would clam up and get defensive, that he didn't know what it truly meant to be married, and that he suspected there was something deeply rooted in my husband's past that was the root of all our problems, that my husband just needed more therapy. Note, we weren't paying for therapy. We got it free due to military benefits. He told me I was very smart and attractive and deserved a partner more on my level. My husband reports the counselor told him there was nothing wrong with him, that he was very mature and intelligent, and all our problems stemmed from my psychosis. The aftermath? I am horrified by how many of our fights after the beginning of counseling were colored by his statements. I was treating my husband like a 13-year-old boy, and my husband kept telling me I needed psychiatric treatment. Our marriage has actually improved much after this time, but I now believe it's because I worked on my anger issues and gave my husband the benefit of the doubt, while my husband became a better communicator in arguments. My husband now has different issues with our marriage, but we are both still reeling from our conversation about the counselor last night and wondering what kind of harm it may have caused. I don't really know what I'm asking here. I had insomnia all night about this, and I just don't know what to do. Counselor was telling me that my husband was emotionally 12 years old and would never be capable of a relationship, while reassuring my husband all was well with him. Meanwhile, he was telling my husband I had borderline personality disorder and needed medication. When my husband started accusing me of being mentally ill, I brought this up to the counselor, who then began making fun of my husband for saying such a thing. Does he think he's a psychiatrist or something? He actually laughed. Counselor reassured me that I was a beautiful and intelligent woman and would do great once I left my husband. The counselor, who was provided by the military through their family services, ended up being transferred a few weeks after we discovered this. We couldn't figure out if he got canned for abusing some other couple, if he retired, or some other shenanigan. Well, fast forward to today. My husband and I are doing great now. We went on a vacation, both of us changed jobs, moved, and we are very happily married now 4 years later. We travel, adopted a couple of kitties, and bought a house in a place we both love. How we got here? We both read some self-help books, started giving each other the benefit of the doubt, got better at communicating. I left my super high-stress job, he changed careers, and everything sort of did a 180. Funny enough, my old job had been killing me, and when I'd mentioned to counselor that I thought maybe I should find another job since it was so dysfunctional, he protested against it. My husband and I did not report him at the time. We were concerned he would retaliate against my husband in some way, as my husband was in the armed forces for 1.5 years after all this. I am embarrassed that we did not report him. We were scared and overwhelmed. I am considering calling that base's family services now and filing an official report. Not sure if it'll matter, so much time has passed. That's all really. You all were such a great help then. I thought I might as well post this in case anyone around here remembered. Firstly, hats off to the disappearing counselor, a true Houdini of the therapeutic world. Now you see him, now you don't. And suddenly your marriage is left in a state of, what just happened? Your counselor's magical act of pitting you and your husband against each other deserves a standing ovation. It's like he was running a secret improv workshop with the two of you as unwitting participants. Improvised dysfunction, coming soon to a Broadway near you. But here's the real magic trick. You and your husband managed to pull off an escape act from this counselor-induced chaos. New jobs, a house, kitties, and a thriving marriage? Did you also discover a potion for eternal happiness? Do share. Now, considering reporting this counselor after all these years is like trying to hunt down the Loch Ness Monster. Is it really worth it? Maybe he's retired and sipping coconut water on a beach somewhere. But hey, if reporting him gives you closure, why not? Let's hope the military has a better screening process for therapists now. In the grand scheme of life, you've turned a bizarre chapter into a tale of growth, love, and a bunch of self-help books. It's like your relationship went through a quirky rom-com phase, and now you're both starring in the sequel, Marriage 2.0, The Happy Ending. So here's to your 4 years of wedded bliss, your newfound communication skills, and the undeniable fact that you've survived a counseling escapade that could rival any Netflix thriller. Keep thriving, keep laughing, and may your marriage continue to be the blockbuster hit it deserves to be. Cheers. Before we unravel the last chapter, let's take a pit stop at the community comments. Your thoughts and reactions are the heartbeat of our discussions. User Honey Smile. I guess I just assumed it was this way everywhere, but every IC and couples counselor I've ever spoke to was adamant that they wouldn't cross over. If they were you IC, they were your IC, and would not become your couples counselor because it crossed a professional boundary and vice versa. Is that not typically the case? User Peter95837. Good to see that the update is good. I feel bad for them having to deal with such a terrible marriage counselor when they are meant to help relationships. OP and her husband doesn't want to report, but I would still report cause if that marriage counselor acts like that and pulls something like this. Then that counselor still has many opportunities to harm other relationships. User 120-minute. Retired Air Force guy here. I remember a couple years ago, there was a therapist who worked with the military who would deliberately try to break couples up and then hit on the wife. The story made the rounds on a bunch of vet subreddits' Facebook pages. Wouldn't be surprised if this was the same guy. As we wrap up this Reddit story, if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more captivating Reddit stories. Your support means the world to me. I enjoy, and I can't wait to see you in the next video.